Before the video starts, I just want to quickly apologize for the echo that's in the video. It's been something that's been happening in my recent videos, but basically I'm planning on moving soon. So I'm a bit too lazy and I don't want to spend a lot of money trying to fix the echo and making the room having less reverb. I hope it won't disturb the video. Enjoy. When Battlefield announced Portal coming with Battlefield 6, I was super excited because something I've always wanted to do is create my own custom infected, right? My own infected with my vision. So I was super happy about that. When it came out, for hours per day, I worked on a custom infected game mode that I sadly gave up after a while because I did put so much hour that I kind of disgusted myself with, how much hours I put into it. I did talk about it quickly on Twitter and on my streams, like saying that I was working on like a custom infected, but I kind of like gave up on it and went silent on both platforms. So today I'm going to showcase my mode, what features I wanted to bring into the mode and create. As you can see, like the features I put, way more features to come, but that never came. But I do have randomly given loadout, which is something I'm kind of happy about because that's something I really believe should be a thing in most infected iteration, is that you get a random loadout, right? And there is 82 primaries and 8 secondaries that you can get. When you spawn, you get one of those 82 primaries, which is X amount of weapons, with each of them having 2 or 3 different variants. If I remember correctly, I did like the easy way of like each variant got a version without attachment. Actually, no, I gave up on the naked or like the attachmentless version because that was kind of the easy way out to have one more loadout per weapon. Each other variant of the same weapon had either a version with like a few attachments and one version fully attached. So the way the loadout system works in BF6 is that you can put up to like 100 points worth of like attachments. So what I did for every weapon, I did go into that loadout editor, made one version with a few attachments, and I always made a version that will take 100 points on like the top left there. I could have got up to 200 different loadouts if I kept going and stuff, like at least different loadouts. If I remember correctly, the whole like spawning system, choosing an infected with like a low player count, it was working, if I'm correct, where there's like 30 seconds before someone gets chosen to be the first infected. When you have more players, it breaks entirely. Okay, so after recording that, I went back and checked, right, with like a low player count, and it was also broken with a low player count, and it doesn't even make sense. It's kind of annoying because the system was kind of smart. Basically, you will get a different amount of first infected depending on how big the survivor team is when the game starts. If I'm correct, most games that do have an infected mode always add a static amount of first infected, but basically what I did was taking the survivor team size, dividing it by 10, rounding up the number, of course, and that would be the number of first infected. So if you had 10 survivor when the game will start, you would have 1 infected, 20 survivor will be equal to 2 infected, and so on. And because I was rounding the number, that would also work with non-rounded team number size, but you get what I mean. I also think the reason why every time you spawn as a survivor you have like the red screen is because I set the player health to 35. I think it was to take in account the fact that either the throwing knife were not one-shotting, or maybe the knife not one-shotting. And I tried to work on a system to remove that, like that red screen, but it never came to work. Also, when you get infected, your health increase to 200 to have like a bit of an easier time to like try to rush survivor. A big thing that I took inspiration from like Ground War Infected from COD was that the problem with big maps and like when there's only a few survivors left is that if you respawn as an infected, you might take a fucking hour to find someone. Hide and seek will be so easy in the mod, so the respawn always worked the same way. You will always spawn close to a survivor in the sky. It's like the tac insert in Ground War Infected, where you will respawn in the sky but above where your tac insert was, but in a better way. So if there's only like 2 more players left, it's going to take an hour to find them. You redeploy and you spawn in the sky close to their location. On certain maps that are like closed map and such, it wouldn't work, right? In the loadout giving, they were always supposed to get like a supply bag with smoke grenades, so you could like use smokes and resupply your ammo and stuff. For like little details, like I know I removed the ability to interact with the infected, so they wouldn't be able to pick up weapons on the ground that survivor will drop. Infected were supposed to have like a knife, a throwing knife, a defibrillator, and an assault ladder. I don't know why the combat knife doesn't work, like the knife itself is not getting given. So that was like the features in like my early version of the mod. I wanted to add more stuff. If you get a certain kill streak, you will be able to like get a vehicle, like a tank or something. But at the same time, there will be like RPG spawning for the infected side. I wanted to also add a nuke. I think I did some research and it was technically doable. I just checked my kind of like Google Doc I made when working on the mod. That was like the features I wanted to implement for at least like the first version of the mod. But it's still like kind of sad that I gave up on it. But again, like there doesn't seem to be that much players playing Portal, right? So I think it would have been overall a waste of time. But that was kind of fun to work on it and have at least a kind of working version of the mod.